What if the greatest battle for our worship isn't happening on a battlefield, but on a stage? What if the lights and the music and the crowds and the rituals surrounding modern festivals are tapping into something humanity has been doing for 1,000 years? Are concerts and festivals simply harmless entertainment, or do they echo ancient patterns of worship in ways most people have never even considered?
We're going to dive into that for sure. So let's get started.
Yeah. Real stories, unseen battles, and deeper truth beneath the surface. Welcome. I'm Melissa.
And I'm Christy. We're really going to dive deep today. So
Yeah.
I know we kind of hinted at this a little bit in our last episode, and we really got us thinking about okay, it's festival season, it's concert season. Why don't we talk about what is happening at some of these concerts? What are the people that we've seen online where they've, been to these specific concerts, recorded these videos, what they felt, and how it goes all the way back to Mesopotamia. And we use that word a lot, but that is where a lot of this stuff originates. And I want you guys please hold on and hang on, because at the beginning we're gonna go through the history. We're gonna go through where it came from, what are festivals, what are rituals, and kind of in the Bible aspect of it, because that's the foundation and that's where you're going to be able to compare, apples to apples or oranges to oranges, and you're going to start seeing things for what they really are.
And I think it's important to mention that when we don't understand history, we will repeat it.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
if we don't know that there is a history behind it and that, God what God says about that, then we can't gauge what's happening now.
Yeah. And what the truth is,
Mhm. Absolutely.
because we talked about this earlier, you and I, that a lot of this is dumbed down, I guess, or they have made it into a pretty package, like we said before, where it's a beautiful ceremony, it's a beautiful festival. They're just celebrating spring or this or that. But the roots of it are what
Yeah.
we're going to really get into. And it unfortunately, a lot of these festivals that have been going on for centuries are not as innocent as they seem. It goes into pagan festivals. That's where they originate from. So, what if the lights, the music, the fire, the symbols on the stage, right? When you're going to a concert or to a festival, what if these rituals surrounding today's biggest events they're not new? I mean, basically, they've been done for thousands of years, and civilizations have used music, fire, sacrifices, feasts, and ceremonies. And there's festivals and ceremonies that God created. And then there are ceremonies that are the counterfeit. So that is really why we're going to talk about the God's festivals that he created and the pagan festivals. And that way you're going to be able to tell the difference of what
Yeah.
worship is and music is. And music, we want to preface too. We talked about this too. Music is not all bad.
No, and God created, you look at King David and how he was able to calm Saul with music,
Yeah.
and,
That was the
I
only way
think
he couldn't hear, and he was super
the only
anxious
time he
and
wasn't tormented.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's a healing to some types of music and some types of frequencies, but then there's also chaos that can be created as well.
Well, who was Lucifer or Satan, whatever? He was a head of worship in heaven. They say that his body was like what, almost like a musical instrument, right? So keep that in mind as well. Like, he knows what he's doing. He knows there's power in music. And
Yes.
then you're gonna figure out when you're at these concerts, are you idolizing something? Is it a ritual? Is it power for something good or is it for evil?
Right. And I think we were made to worship. That's
Yes.
how God made us. And the question isn't whether we'll worship it, it's what or who will worship. And if you've been to a concert lately, there is a stage or an altar at
Yeah,
every single concert, and you are worshiping something.
absolutely.
So,
So I think we're gonna go first, we're gonna start talking about festivals and where they begin. And festivals they're actually older than most modern religions. They've developed for several reasons, marking the seasons, celebrating harvest, honoring gods, little g gods, remembering important historical events like a celebration of freedom, etc., and strengthening community identity. Gets everybody together. It's something that becomes part of the culture. So
the
you
one thing I
have,
want to say about that, well, what I was going to say
yeah,
is, I think, if you've ever had a garden, you understand that you're working, 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 you're harvesting. And so it makes sense that there would be a festival when it's over, when you've
yeah,
worked and you've got all that food and you have a celebration. It's not that the celebration is wrong, it's what you're honoring. Are you saying, "Oh, I'm so thankful that we're done. We had a great harvest, yay." Or saying, "Thank you to the God, little g God, that provided this."
mm-hmm, instead of
Or,
God.
yeah, instead of the big G, our God. So I think that, festivals are not a bad thing. It's what you're honoring in that festival. So anyway, I
Yes.
just wanted to say that real quick.
No, I think that's great. I think that's very important. So, I don't know if it's Sumer, if
Mhm.
that's how you pronounce it. It's
I think that's
Sumer. That's basically around 3500 to 2000 BC. People held festivals to honor gods such as Inanna and Enlil. They included music, feasting, processions, sacrifices, and temple rituals. Just understand when we say sacrifices, that could be anything, right? It could be children, it could be animals, but these sacrifices are for the gods.
right, little g gods.
Yeah. And an
And the
ancient
temple rituals, a lot of
oh,
those
yeah.
was sex magic. They
Yeah.
had temple prostitutes back then as well.
And yes, I'm like, that's gonna be a whole nother if we choose to go down that dark road. Because sometimes we talked about this too, that, like, this was a heavy one to go down because there's so many things that it affects, and I we both said that we love concerts, we love
Yeah.
music, and then it's hard because it almost takes some of that joy away when
Mhm.
you're, because you see it for what it is, and it's a hard realization to get to.
Yeah. Especially
But
in our
in
society today
yeah.
"Oh, so what concerts did you go to this summer?"
Oh, yeah, that's so we live, by the way, guys, we live right next to, it used to be called Deer Creek, and it's a outside amphitheater, and it is really fun. And so a lot of the high school kids will go to concerts there. I grew up going to concerts
Oh,
there.
me too,
It's just
yeah.
so there's a lot of good people that come through here. And so I have to have those conversations with my older kids. They think sometimes I'm crazy, but so far so good. But there's been some questionable ones that come through
Yeah.
that I would not let my kids go to.
Yeah,
So,
and it's constantly changing because one of them that we'll talk about later, I would have said, "Oh, that would be, that'd be fine to go to
yeah.
my kids." And now I'm like, "I don't know about that."
Yeah.
The more you know.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard. It is, the more you know, it is harder.
But I think
You just
I think this information allows us to have a better idea of how to talk about these things with our kids.
yeah.
It's not that the concert, it's just be aware of this. If you see this, these are
Yeah.
the things that we're concerned about. Have fun, go have fun, be careful, and,
Pray over yourself.
keep
Yeah.
your keep yourself guarded, keep your heart guarded.
Yeah. So we also have in ancient Egypt, You had festivals like the Opet Festival, celebrated the gods and reaffirmed the king's divine authority. The ancient Greece festivals honored gods such as Dionysus.
Dionysus, yeah, Dionysus.
Okay. And then included athletic games, theater, and sacrifices. In ancient Rome, festivals such as Saturnalia featured gift giving, feasting, and temporary role reversals between social classes. So slaves became masters, masters became slaves. They released where you could have gambling, clothing optional. It's like, yeah,
Sounds
basically
like
no
June.
rules.
Sounds like
Yes.
June in the States.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Did you see there was a video and it was so sad. It was in Seattle.
Mm-mm.
These little kids were around this fountain. It looks like a public park area or looked like in downtown. It's downtown Seattle, I guess. And they're all like in their bathing suits. It's hot out. It's just this fountain in it. There are grown folks completely naked running around with the children.
Whoa.
Yes, and I guess Seattle has been very lax on those laws. So I'll tell you what, if somebody came even close to my child,
I'd be in jail.
100%, and I'd be happy and I'd smile for my mugshot. I really would.
Yeah,
I would.
keep your dingling away from my
Yeah.
children.
Could you imagine seeing somebody
No,
running? Oh,
I would be that woman, like,
yes. And people were, you should have read the comments because people are like, do you remember when our parents would report people to the police that just had their hands in their pockets?
I remember when I was growing up that a man flashed himself to a neighbor and the police were called and he was arrested. So yeah,
Rightfully so. Yeah.
right.
So, yeah. We're, it's wild times, folks.
It
Wild
is. It's a
times.
different world, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And so it just, so basically all those things become, it was okay. Like you could do whatever you want during some of these festivals. And from going from a biblical perspective, you had God establishing festivals, but for a very different purpose.
Oh,
So did you want to go
absolutely.
into that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, God, d- I think he gave these festivals to his people because he saw these other cultures and how it brought these people and these cultures together to celebrate a common purpose. And so he gave these festivals like Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Feast of First Fruits, the Feast of Weeks, or Shuvat, or Pentecost is what we know it as today, the
Mm-hmm.
Feast of Trumpets, the Day of Atonement, and the Feast of Tabernacles. And a lot of these feasts surrounded things that the Israelites worked together to accomplish for God.
Mm-hmm.
So very different. God's festivals were basically a way of, like, I think the Feast of Tabernacles was when they finally were able to get the first temple built. And so
After
there
they were
were,
in the wilderness.
yeah, the Passover. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Bible, the Passover was the meal that God ordained and how he set it up when the Israelites were slaves in Egypt. It was the last, what they called one of the last. It was considered the last plague,
Mm-hmm.
and it's where the firstborn of every family, whether it be human or animal, would die
Mm-hmm.
unless you put the blood of the lamb over the doorways and so that the angel of death would pass over those homes.
This was
Um,
God's last resort and last attempt
yes.
because he was trying to free the Israelites from Pharaoh. His heart was hardened. He did many plagues before that. And he was like,
Yes.
all right, I hope you understand who I am and how,
Well,
and this is if you're not listening and this is what's going to happen. And then that was the final straw where it was like, okay, I need to listen to
yeah.
God.
It's
Yeah.
really interesting. There's another part of it too that I never understood until probably about a year ago, is that
Hmm.
each one of the plagues was specifically to take down one of their little g gods.
I did not know that. That makes a
Yes.
lot of
So,
sense.
like the frogs, they had a deity that had a frog head. So that one was to take down that deity. There was another one, each one of those plagues was to take down a specific deity that they worshiped.
So the last one was because they were probably still sacrificing children. Okay, makes
Well
sense.
well, the last one was, "Listen, I am going to change everything eventually, and I'm going to send the final Passover lamb," which was Jesus. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
to overcome death.
All those feasts and, God's festivals, he had rules about it. I mean, very specific, so then it would be followed, just like any kind of tradition or anything else that
I mean,
is
like,
with
we all
the
have
pagan.
turkey for Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, like, this even the simple gift giving at Christmas or, whatever. We all have
yeah.
traditions. I mean, yes, they considered them rules and laws, but traditions, I think, would be I mean, the Jewish community celebrates these feasts and festivals still as tradition. It's just something that's been passed down from, generation to generation to generation, It's the same.
Yeah. Yeah, and you
So,
can read Leviticus 23 and Deuteronomy 16. That will also help you with kind of getting more of an understanding of the festivals and the
yeah.
rules and the traditions and how you're supposed to go about it. So, and again, this is all honoring God,
Right,
not
not
all
the
the little.
cycle yeah, not cycles of fertility or multiple deities or, you know, whatever they were
Yeah.
worshiping at the time, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then many cultures, like we said before, they celebrated at similar times of the year. So for spring planting, harvest, winter solstice, and some of it gets kind of dark because the more we went into this, because these are the pagan festivals and rituals, but some of them would be like, this is the darkest night of the year, or where they would celebrate that and the least amount of light in one day. And I don't know. To me, that doesn't sound like something to celebrate, but I mean, it's attributing to agriculture and thanking the little g gods for rain or a good harvest. And they
Yeah,
believed if they didn't have a good harvest, it was because they didn't worship them enough or sacrifice enough. And that's where you have the sacrificing of children, animals, all of that because they felt like that directly correlated with harvesting, and that was their survival. So again, it's their culture. And imagine growing up, and that's just all you know. I mean, you're a child and you're participating in these festivals and the celebrations, and that was that was the norm.
yeah. Okay, so what's a ritual? So we talked about festivals, rituals. Ritual is when we talk about rituals, it's simply a repeated set of symbolic actions that are performed with meaning or purpose. Okay, so not all rituals are evil. Even God established rituals first, like we talked about
Hmm.
Passover, communion, baptism, Day of
Yeah.
Atonement, the feast days. The rituals pointed people toward God. That's the main thing. Like, is it pointing you back to God or is it about what you did or didn't do? Even when God says to sacrifice, the priestly sacrifices, the purpose of that is to take on the sins of the community so that they can have relationship with God. That was it's not about works. So when Paul talks in the New Testament about that it's not about the works, it's about your heart posture, that's reiterating what even though God set up these rituals, there was a purpose behind it that wasn't to worship a little g God. It was to be back in relationship with God.
And remember the covenant between Israel and God.
Yes. So, like we say, Satan doesn't create, he counterfeits. So, of course, he tries to counterfeit that. And if God uses rituals to draw people to himself, what's Satan going to use? Rituals. And this is really, there are a lot of dark rituals in the occult, and they are aimed to draw people toward other spiritual powers.
To gain power.
Power.
Yeah.
Or because they've made a covenant with the dark Satan,
Mhm.
and,
They have to make those sacrifices.
there's always a sacrifice. Like, when we talk about sacrifices with the occult, there's always a payment that has to be made,
Mhm.
and that is a sacrifice of some kind. So, many occult traditions, they have rituals. There's an understanding that they are a symbolic action intended to focus their intention,
Oh, it's
or invoke spiritual
oh, yeah.
beings, or for a desired spiritual outcome.
I mean,
Um,
when they do these rituals, especially when it's outdoors or even inside, they have the circle, they have the pentagram, they have, everything it has to, there's numerology, gosh, there's gematria.
gematria,
Yes. It's numbers, it's meanings, and
circles,
yes,
candles,
yeah,
symbols,
witchcraft.
offerings, altered
Yeah.
states of consciousness, which you see a lot of times at these concerts.
Yes, which can also be astral
Opening.
projection, which we'll talk,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll talk about that with, because 'cause we're gonna get into the Travis Scott concert, Zach Brown, and we have some visuals for you guys because I think a lot of you might be familiar with it, but there were people that were there that felt the energy shift. And they felt
Mhm.
like when they walked into these places, especially Travis Scott, where there was the opening, I mean, you're walking through a portal. I mean,
A portal.
yeah, you have people that are ex witches that are basically saying, this is a ritual. This is not, you're not just imagining this. And when you are in front of a screen or, and you have music, you can have an altered state of consciousness. Add in drugs and alcohol. It's very easily done. Very easily done. So, it's basically a way to contact spirits, divination, sorcery, consulting. It's just, and you'll see too where we connect the dots on certain deities that some of them are actually wanting to have power from or give power to. So,
Yeah.
you have the Mesopotamian festivals. So we're going to compare, you have all of God's festivals, then you have the pagan festivals. And again, it's going to be a little bit of redundancy here, but you have, Moloch, Baal, Ishtar, Inanna, Marduk. You have these deities and these gods that they are worshiping. And these festivals include, temple processions, animal sacrifices, music and dancing. And that's why we're trying to correlate this. So they always have music, they always have some kind of dancing. Temple is basically the stage, right? And they think it helps them with fertility. And basically, they do ritualize sexual practices, which is sex magic. You said something about, which I don't know much about, where there was temple prostitution.
Right. So basically, these women or men and women would be there for whatever the person who needed something. They'd have altars and they would do sex magic in these
That
temples.
reminds me of the movie Eyes Wide Shut,
Yeah, yeah.
and it still happens today in Hollywood. I mean, they
Oh,
have
for sure.
these parties, and they bring these other
Why
people
do you
in.
think? Yeah. I mean, we don't have temple prostitutes anymore, but we do have people who are, trafficking. So,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
and
Mm.
all of this was to gain favor from the gods for rain, crops, fertility, and protection.
Mm.
So, you know, this is still kind of what people do today.
Yeah. Yes, they do, and the Celtics, and gosh, where else? I think it was Iran, but maybe I'm wrong, but, like, they had different festivals, but it's just, like, the roots of it, the history, the origins is dark. So,
Yeah.
festivals of Dionysus, or she, I'm assuming he,
He.
yeah, was a Greek god of wine, ecstasy, fertility, theater, and the festivals included drinking, dancing, dramatic performances, masks, Eyes Wide Shut.
Mhm.
Ecstatic celebrations, and ancient writers sometimes describe some followers seeking altered states as a way of experiencing communion with the god. So the rituals would allow them to enter this conscience system. I can't say
Or
that
this
word.
realm,
Yeah. Yes.
or a different realm, which some people, talk about ayahuasca being that.
I cannot remember if which one is the one that is the origin of Halloween. If you wanna go into
Yeah, Saturnalia. So
yeah.
Saturnalia honored the planet Saturn, or the god Saturn. So in ancient Rome, Saturn was worshipped and venerated, adored, worshipped as the god of agriculture, sowing, wealth, and the passage of time. Which I find ironic because when you look at when it was held each year from December 17th through December 23rd, and it was known for feasting, giving gifts, role reversals, masters serving slaves as well, public celebrations, and a suspension of some of the social norms, which not all of that covers Christmas, but I just think it's very interesting that,
Well, the
uh,
some people say that the Catholics basically took that on and used those traditions for
yeah,
Christmas.
that a lot of the Christian religions were made to be celebrated at these pagan times because they were trying to win the pagans in, which it can always be kind of iffy.
Mhm.
So, but here we are. So let's see what else. Oh, uh,
Well, you talked about Saturn was identified with the Greek Titan Kronos.
yes, and that Kronos was known as the god that ate his children because he didn't want them to take over. There was a prophecy that one of his children would overtake him, and so he ate his children.
I think there was one that his wife, which is actually his sister too. It was his wife and sister.
Sister wife.
Yeah, they wanna protect their lineage, and you'll see
Yeah.
that's a whole whole 'nother deal too.
Right.
So
So ancient sources accuse people of practicing child sacrifice as part of this Ternalia. So they acquired symbolic meaning beyond the Roman religion. Medieval astrology associated Saturn with discipline, limits, melancholy, old age, and time. The Renaissance occultism linked Saturn to esoteric symbols of alchemy and ceremonial magic. And then the modern occult tradition sometimes associate Saturn with initiation, hidden knowledge, karma, and restriction. So I think it's
this
just really interesting how these kind of take on a life of their own. But
mhm.
in recent years, there's been a lot of discussion connecting Saturn to the Black Cube, secret societies, global elites, corporate logos, and modern holidays like we talked about with Christmas. So, the
Mhm.
biblical perspective is, God never mentions the Roman god Saturn by name. However, he does repeatedly condemn worship of little g gods and celestial bodies. So, as we talked about in previous shows, he does say in Exodus 23 through 5 that you shall have no other gods before me. That's one of the main commandments. And then Deuteronomy 9:14 warns against worshiping the sun, moon, and stars. And yeah, I mean, so it's all over the Bible. Acts 7:43 talks about it in association with the planet of Saturn in the Hebrew translation. So, there's just a lot that's in the Bible warning against idolatry and the worship of created things instead of the creator. So I think it's interesting. Romans 1:18 through 25 talks about God's wrath against sinful humanity. And you can, go through it all, but I think it's very interesting. The very last 24 through and 25 says, therefore, God gave them over to their sinful desires of their hearts to sexual impurity for the degrading of their bodies with one another. and they exchanged the truth about God for a lie and worshiped and served created things rather than the creator,
Yeah.
which feels like some of the what some they've done with these festivals, some of these ancient festivals.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, if you can believe that there's no devil or there's no God, and then you worship all these other things, it's so I mean, it's what the devil wants. So,
And if you think that what you feel and what you see and what you experience is truth, like
uh,
that's the ultimate truth, right? My truth, your
mhm,
truth. It
mhm.
what you're experiencing is the ultimate freedom and truth, then then you're gonna be seeking these kind of, highs.
Well, yeah, because if you think, okay, well, this feels good, or this shouldn't be bad, and maybe this is something that I'm not supposed to know, that the hidden knowledge or whatever, and we've been lied to, and this is God that's vengeful, all this stuff. Why would we want to serve him? We want to have love, we can look at all different ways. And yeah, I mean, let's let's really just go into worship, what it was truly made for. And he created us to worship. And when you stop worshiping him, let's see here, what does it say? We're going to go into Romans, which I am like super excited that that's another thing that I'm going to be studying uh, this fall. But you have Romans 1, where basically Paul is a servant of Christ Jesus and is called an apostle, and he is set apart. And he is set apart from the gospel of God, which he promised beforehand through his prophets in the Holy Scriptures concerning his Son, Jesus Christ our Lord, who was a descendant of David according to the flesh, and was appointed to be the powerful Son of God according to the Spirit of holiness by the resurrection of the dead. Through him we have received grace and apostleship to bring about the obedience of faith for the sake of his name among the Gentiles, who are also called by Jesus Christ. Worship is for him, but then what is happening now is that you're seeing the worship of celebrities, entertainment, money, self, experiences. You have, like we said before, you have ayahuasca, you see these celebrities and you want to look like them, have what they have. I mean, it's constantly like, I need a Louis Vuitton bag. I need this huge house to be happy. They make it look so enticing to have these things and have this fame. But again, it came at a cost. So none of that came for free.
Mm-mm.
Not at all. And so you got to question yourself, has entertainment become the modern temple? You have ancient festivals where they gathered thousands, and then you have modern festivals now that do the same thing. Especially, I mean, gosh, I remember going to Lollapalooza in Chicago. I mean, it is huge. There's so many artists, there's so many, like, it's days upon days, and it's a lot of drinking and drugs and,
Sex
yes, yeah. So that's where you see the similarities of the
and,
pa
lowering inhibitions
Yes.
and opening yourself up to you don't know.
Yeah.
When you're putting yourself in altered states, whether it's alcohol, drugs, or sex, you're
Mhm.
putting yourself in a situation where you don't know what's gonna like, you're opening doors all over the place in your
I and
soul.
I'm gonna preface this too. I do enjoy a glass of wine or tequila. I'm just letting you know. But there is a reason why they're called spirits. When you go
Yeah.
to the store and it's wine and spirits, beer and spirits, there's a reason why it's labeled spirits because it does open you up to that. Oh.
And I don't want a this is not about telling people what they should and shouldn't do. We're just
Mhm.
saying, "Let's just take a look at this. Let's just kind of
Yeah.
look at where we're not condemning. Jesus turned
Yeah.
water into wine."
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, we're not condemning, but he
You
says, "Don't
can
get."
celebrate. You can celebrate. You
Yeah,
can still have fun, okay? It's just, when you mix in what is influencing you while you're in that state, that can
You
become
just
a problem.
need to know that you may be opening yourself up to something. I mean, how many people do you know that when they drink, they behave so differently than
Oh,
when
yeah.
they don't? Like, you're like,
Yes.
if she wasn't drinking, she wouldn't be doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like,
She wouldn't have got with him. He
she
wouldn't have
wouldn't
got with
have made that
her.
decision. She
Yes.
wouldn't have made that, or
Or
he.
said what she said, or he said what he said, or
Exactly. Exactly.
anger comes out, or sadness.
Everything
Yeah.
everything in your heart is going to, so if you feel insecure, you're going to be with somebody that you shouldn't be with. If you're unhappy, then the anger will probably manifest.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
So,
have these ancient festivals, and then you have the modern concerts. So you have the crowds, music, headliners, pyrotechnics, because they also had fire,
mhm,
stage entrances. So we'll talk about that. Visual
mhm.
themes and shared audience participation. So when you have more than one person, it becomes a ritual, right?
Well,
When
yeah,
you're all,
or where it says two, where two or more are gathered, there I will be also. God will be there. So there's
yes.
something about the power of people coming together
Hmm.
in agreement
Yes.
in whatever way
Yes.
that is.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So
Yeah.
we have now don't know if
Now we're
we
going deep.
yeah, not not excited, but like interested in, right? Because
Interested or like really agitated by.
yeah, and this is really where we're gonna open people's eyes with some of the artists that are out there are in it for nefarious reasons, or they've made a contract with the devil and they either have to do these things to keep their power, money, wealth, energy, and then also
Or
affect those.
fame
Correct. Yeah. So
or
there's so
relationships,
Mhm.
like the people that they're with.
Yeah. It's wild. Like we said, it all comes at a cost. Many of the artists will incorporate mythology, religious imagery, fantasy. Now, religious imagery too, it could also be against
Right.
mockery.
So, yes, upside down crosses as your stage.
Mhm. Yeah. Kendrick
Oh, it's
Lamar.
just,
Kendrick Lamar was up on stage and he was on a cross mocking Jesus. And yeah, I mean, come on. Like I'm going to say it, the balls that he has to mock him and not think that there's any consequences. Wild. Like wild to me.
and then the symbolism is just everywhere. Why does there have to be fire everywhere on some of these
Oh my gosh, you
concerts?
don't even want to know some of the, I saw a gosh, what do you call it? Death metal or
Oh
metal or
gosh.
whatever. It was basically this phallus and it was shooting out foam, and then you had pyrotechnics. I can't make this up, Melissa. I can't. I saw it with my own eyes because
So
somebody
sex
showed
magic,
me.
basically
Yeah,
sex magic.
yes, and I saw it with my own eyes, and it was somebody that I know
Can't
that went
unsee
to this,
this.
and I was like, they're like, "Look," and I'm like, "This is great.
No. Yeah.
Have fun. Like, cool. Like, not for me. Not for
No.
me." And then you
It
talk
matters
about
what we see. What we see affects us far
yes.
more than we even realize.
Well, some people think that the eye is a portal. So we'll go into that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just remembering the video.
I can't
It was,
unsee it now. Make it go
yeah,
away.
it's something that I can never unsee.
Yeah.
And then the frequency. So, like the frequency that you have of the music.
So, whenever I think of frequency, people are like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're so new agey, you're so woo wooey." No,
Yeah.
Joshua fought the battle of Jericho with a trumpet.
Mhm.
They walked around the city of Jericho, the walls of Jericho, and blew horns, and the
And
walls fell down.
the walls came down. Yep.
Do you think that was possibly the frequencies? Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, God created it.
It was changed. I'm trying to remember what year. Laura
Yes.
Singer goes
Laura
into
Sanger
detail.
talks about this, about when the frequency, the pitch, how everybody tunes their instruments to a specific hertz and how that
Mhm.
it was changed, and the one that everybody I think 444 is the perfect pitch. Like,
Mhm.
she says we should all like, that's it was 444, I think, and then it was changed to, like, 325 or something like that, and so all of the music is now at a different frequency.
And that affects your mood. It
It affects
affects
everything. It affects
the
they know that it even affects, like, if you play a certain kind of song or say certain kind of words with water, it will resonate at a different frequency, and it will create either chaos or beauty
it
in the ripples.
yes, it looks like it was 432 hertz, and it's tuned to 440 hertz.
Okay.
And there's a study, a double blind crossover study that talks about the health effects as well. So when you see, for example, so we're not crazy, when you see the old churches, the cathedrals, and the inside of them where the arches, and it was all designed so when a choir sang or music was played, it would be healing to everybody that was
It would
in the church.
resonate. Yeah, it would resonate through the church and would be healing, yeah.
Yes. So it can actually have an effect on disease and healing.
A lot of people think that the churches were temples of healing.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah,
Basically, you have when it was
which is why
4:30.
hospitals looked so much like churches
Mm,
in
well, they
ancient
used to use
times.
linen sheets instead of what they use now,
Mhm.
polyester, and that would be healing. They would take people outside in the sun.
Vitamin D.
Yeah, and it's insane now. So at 4:32, the music was associated with a slight decrease of blood pressure values and a marked decrease in the heart rate and respiratory rates. Now, compared to the 440 hertz, they were generally more satisfied after the sessions in which they listened to the 432. So it looks like basically music having special healing powers in people. And this is a study. This is science. This isn't religion. This isn't any of this. This is actually what is happening. When you have where they've changed it, everything is now on 440 hertz instead of 432. You're it's going to start affecting people, and so and who knows, it could be a different hertz for these other artists, and it will affect. So when you have a group of people
Mhm.
and you get all into the same feelings of like, I think maybe metal is different, maybe it makes everybody angry, mosh pit, all this stuff, weird stuff, and then you have
Or all these people passing out, maybe it's causing them to pass out. Maybe the whatever frequency that they're doing this. I mean, here's what we know to be true
frequency is
scientifically.
energy.
Every frequency, every single one of our organs has a different frequency, and
Yep.
emotions have frequencies as well.
Yes.
So, anger has the same frequency as your liver. Anger go so a lot of people who deal with liver issues have unresolved anger issues
Hmm. Yeah, there's some doctors out there now that are specializing
in
in,
frequency medicine.
yeah, frequency healing. It's not.
It's not woo-woo-y.
No.
It's scientifically proven.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so let's dive deep.
we got
I'm gonna
Beyonce,
say her name. I'm gonna say her name,
mhm,
and it's
AKA
gonna
Sasha Fierce.
right? Or the
Mhm,
queen bee.
mhm. And what are
Mm,
her followers?
they're the hive.
Beehive
It's really
mentality.
interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know much about Beyonce other than I mean, like, I'm not a big Beyonce fan. I
I
never
never
have
have
been.
been. Same.
Mm-mm. But her followers get really angry if you start bashing on her. And by
Yeah.
bashing, I mean speaking truth
Yeah.
about things that she already said. Like, she has all this, Egyptian imagery, which is fine, but she's also got a lot of goddess symbolism.
Well, I mean, you saw Katy Perry
whatever.
using the Egyptian imagery in her.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of musicians do. And then she also talks about Ashun, who is one of the most revered deities in West Africa. She's associated with love, beauty, fertility, sensuality, prosperity. Her colors are yellow and gold, which you
Mm.
see Beyonce in yellow and gold all the time. And
Her one of her
also
albums was Lemonade.
and this deity also symbolizes sweetness, abundance, and radiance. So she's depicted carrying a mirror, wearing gold jewelry, and surrounded by flowing water, honey, cinnamon, pumpkins, oranges, and sunflowers are all among the offerings that are traditionally associated with her. So I just think it's very very interesting that she has mentioned that, and then also Sasha Fierce, who she says she takes on. She's like, I'm not this outward, person, but I take on Sasha Fierce, or I
Mhm.
take in Sasha Fierce,
There's a
which
video,
makes,
yeah, supposedly of her putting her head back and then, like, coming back, and people are like, "Whoa." Like,
yeah,
that's demonic. It's basically where she's on stage and bam, she is Sasha Fierce, and that entity has taken over her. So,
right.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like
And
her.
the whole bee thing also, when I was looking at bees the other day, I don't know why I went down that rabbit trail. I have no idea. But they were talking about how bees are connected with magic, with
Magic,
ritual
that's why,
magic.
yeah.
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 I mean, it's interesting. And then,
It
you've got all of her husband and then her daughter the other day was at a concert with her and did this.
Oh, yeah. There's a picture of Beyonce and God, why can't I think of her husband's name right now?
I don't
It's
know.
gonna
He's
drive
just
me crazy.
he's so horrible.
Yeah, and so Jay, so
Jay-Z.
yeah, they're both going like this on the back of a
Mhm.
golf cart on, like, about she's about to perform or whatever. There's supposedly, if you go really down the rabbit hole, this sounds really out there, and I don't know if it's true or not, but there's basically a hierarchy, and that is why she's called Queen Bee, is because she has literally fought other people for that coveted
Yes.
role of
Yes.
being, what do they call it? Either a high priestess or,
Mother of Darkness.
yes. So supposedly she is one of those. And supposedly she went up against, what is Harry's wife? Prince Prince Harry, Meghan.
Meghan Markle? See, what I've heard about the Mothers of Darkness, though, is that if you go up against someone, then the one who loses dies. That's the sacrifice.
That's interesting.
So, yeah, I don't know. That's a whole
She's
'nother rabbit trail.
But just know, don't let your eyes deceive you and don't let your intuition deceive you, because when you go into these places, you feel it. You can see, I mean, people will tell you you're crazy when you see something or recognize evil when you see it. And
Right. But also,
just,
too, the way people respond when you bring up, like, what we're talking about,
mhm,
if somebody responds irrationally to
mhm,
you making a comment about somebody that they're worshiping,
mhm.
they respond in a way that is clear that they're worshiping that person.
Look into the files. This is all there. Okay. So you can say I'm crazy, whatever. I've been called crazy since what, 2019 or before, and people thought I was nuts. My family thought I was nuts. And then you have all this stuff come out and it's like, "Oh, she wasn't crazy. They all are in this weird."
Well, yeah, no, there's not, but people won't admit that because they've moved on to the next thing. And
Right?
it's like,
Right.
I've been saying this for years. Like, I've said that so many times. I've been saying this for years.
Yeah. So you
People are
have
like, Melissa's talking again, whatever.
then you have Taylor Swift, who,
And don't even get me started about the Swifties.
okay. And the Easter eggs and the eggs, like, it's just like, it is a cult. I'm just gonna say it. So, you have Taylor Swift, right? And she is the identical twin of Anton LaVey's daughter.
Mhm.
Yeah. Who was on Oprah? I believe.
Mhm.
So you can see her and do a side by side. And I mean, they are literally identical to every feature
Yeah,
of her
and some
face.
people believe that Taylor Swift is Anton LaVey's granddaughter.
That doesn't surprise me. And then you
So
have Mariska Hargitay, right? Hargitay or
right.
whatever that's supposedly in that family mix as well. So
And she and Taylor are, like, besties, maybe
weird,
sisters, who knows?
which is weird because I don't know why would they have anything in common or they're in two different worlds. Yeah. So she in her concerts at one point there is a circle. They're all in these dark robes,
Robes.
candles. You it's basically snake imagery, magic and spell references that are in her lyrics. She
Mhm.
has witchy aesthetics, and then you have basically the fans that are participating
Right.
in this ritual.
Exactly, and I this past year, there were a bunch of people at one of her concerts that left the concert and couldn't remember the concert at all. That
Yeah.
sounds like an altered state to me.
Yeah. So you got frequency, you got music, you have what's on the stage,
Rituals.
you have everybody around you. I mean, you're doing like watching the same thing. You guys are all in the same consciousness.
And the
That is
interesting thing is, like, when you're at a concert, it's always dark, so you really have a hard time figuring out what's happening around you. You don't have the
your
option
focus
of
is
not
yeah,
looking yeah, on the stage.
you are solely focused on what's
Mhm,
happening. Yep.
mhm.
So just think, I mean, you got theater, Hollywood, it's on a screen, tell lie, vision, it's
Or
all
tell a vision.
yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah,
telling us their vision.
yeah. So there's something to it, and all of them
They
now
call it
have
programming for a reason.
yeah, yes. Yep. The good old TV guide, the program.
Yeah.
Well, they even call a program when you go see a play,
Oh, that's
you
right,
know?
yeah.
So now I don't really like talking about her very much. I want to get rid of her
Yeah.
because I just it
Well, and honestly, everybody, who is such a Swiftie, they're all about her and the guy she's engaged to, and every
ugh,
time I see her, I'm just like,
yeah.
there's just something creepy about that whole relationship that I can't put my
I
finger
mean,
on.
A, it's not real.
It doesn't
It
seem like it is,
it's arranged
but then
and
if it is, like, what kinda control does she have over
she just
him?
seems so fake. I think that's what irritates me the most. She
Yeah,
pretends
well,
to be like this. I'm just like this innocent little like blonde musician that just loves to sing and I love my Swifties. Like, sorry. Can you tell I don't like her?
well, and the
And then
thing
you have
is, like,
grown women.
I think
You have grown women.
there's discernment in what we're seeing, and we can't put a finger on what exactly it
Yeah.
is, but there's something off that makes us uncomfortable.
Yeah. And there's a wide age range. To me, I mean, it was beyond my comprehension when I would see some of my friends, sorry guys, just gonna say it, but like that would be so into Taylor Swift. I'm like, you are grown. You
Yeah.
are 40, 30 something years old and you're dressing up and you're
Well,
just
Britney Spears was like this too before she derailed.
it's
Her
yeah.
followers, like, "Free Britney,"
Yeah.
all of
That's
that.
true. That's true. Yeah. I just don't not my thing. Don't get it.
No. They really have made these stars
Mhm. To be worshipped.
to be worshipped. And what was
Yeah.
that verse again? Where God says, "Do not worship the sun, moon, or stars,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
planets." That was Deuteronomy 4:19, warning against
Mhm.
worshiping the sun, moon, and
Mhm. Well, let's go into Travis
yeah, this
Scott.
is the big one.
And this
This
was
was
really
the
hard for me because my boys I mean, think of how popular he is. And then You go to it like, I still go to like the kid, my younger two baseball. They'll have walk up songs that have his, and it's just like the words and the lyrics. You're like, oh my God, these kids have no idea what he's talking about. And they're so vile,
Right.
so gross, so sexual. Yeah, so let's go back to 2021 at Astroworld, where it ended up in a disaster. People said that they showed up, okay? And I'm going to put a couple of like images up so everybody can see what we're talking about. So people are walking up, right? And this is the entrance, right? You have to walk through this. It's a portal, right? And people said that like literally when you walk, or the minute you got there and you were walking through, the energy felt dark and it shifted.
I think it's important also to talk about what is a portal,
Mm.
because a
Yeah.
lot of people don't even know what a portal is. So a
Yeah.
literal portal is like a doorway to a building, or, you know, even online, a portal is
Uh-huh.
when you log in to access information.
The black screen
Yeah.
of your phone.
So in 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 mythology, folklore, and fiction, a portal is often described as a gateway between two places, two worlds, or two dimensions. Mm,
And some people think that there are some portals that people have found that are in certain areas of the world or
mhm.
places, and it's where the veil, it's very thin,
Or
or there
where
has been a lot of rituals
mm,
or sex magic, etc., in that area, and then it creates a portal, which wasn't it? It was either Anton LaVey or Aleister Crowley
yeah.
that
I
opened
think the
one up.
Babylon working when they were doing the Babylon
Yeah. Yes.
working group, that one of them opened a portal in the desert that and died doing that. And so some people say that's still open. But so
Which
how
may be
are
where Burning Man is,
well, maybe it would
you
make
know?
sense. Yeah.
Yes.
Or Area 51,
Yeah, that's
it's in the
true.
desert too, right?
I will
Maybe those crashes were, maybe those UFOs came through a portal and crashed. Don't know.
I just remembered this story, and mind you, my mom and stepdad are not anywhere near where I'm at right now. They went on a trip to Arizona or something, and they were out in the desert, and they were in a car, and all of a sudden they saw this, like, creature, and it flew past them, and they felt like it wasn't a roadrunner, it was nothing that they've ever seen
Was it a
before.
Wendigo?
I don't know. I don't know, but they just kind of described it like a roadrunner, but it wasn't. And it was just something like it,
Wow.
and yeah. Yeah. So, like, when we
'Cause
talked about this before about the desert, this is
mhm,
where all the unclean spirits are. And
like
yeah.
Lilith.
Mm, mhm,
Well, and it's interesting because in the occult and esoteric traditions, how do you connect to these spiritual realms?
mhm,
Rituals, sacred
mhm.
sites,
Yes.
meditation, so yoga, spirit communication, so going to a medium, going to a psychic, ceremonial magic, and certain objects or symbols, which we were just talking
Mhm,
about. So these
mhm.
are all things that can open a portal. And so I just think it's very interesting.
So look at this, to on here where you sent me this picture of, it looks, so you have the CERN collider, and look at the Astro World
Yeah.
opening to the very top right.
Yeah.
Both are portals, and both are trying to accomplish something that's
Well, and it's interesting because the CERN is now shut down for 4 years, which brings up the question, is CERN a portal? I think yes.
Mhm.
M- If so, to where? And why would they need to shut it down for 4 years?
That I don't know. It's a good
Why?
question.
Did something come through that they weren't prepared for? Like Stranger Things? I don't know.
That's exactly what Stranger Things is about.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much, like, symbolism and,
Well,
you
it's
know.
predictive programming.
Mhm.
They're showing you, they're preparing you before they're programming you for what's gonna come.
Yes, yes, and to believe a certain thing in a certain way instead of
Exactly.
what the Bible says. So you have all of Astroworld had stage imagery, and it was a tragedy because there were people that got
I think
hurt, and I
ultimately
think
10 people died.
yes.
8 to
So
10 people, 8 to 10, I can't remember if it was 8 or 10. I think 8 initially, and I think 2 more died afterwards.
okay, I have 2 videos that we have from there,
The
and
other
I'm
thing
just
I wanted to say about Astroworld is if you see the one when you enter through the portal, which is his head,
mhm.
on the other side of the portal is the skeleton. So it's on the back side. So the skeleton was on the back side of it.
This
Yeah,
is
Yeah.
and it's weird because
2000.
one eye part of the face, though,
Yeah.
eye is like a skeleton and one
But
is
if you look at like the teeth, it's all, and that just may be the shadowing of the sun
mhm,
where the sun is hitting. But if you
mhm,
look at the whole face just looks like, if you look like right here, it looks like just a skeleton.
mhm,
It's very
mhm.
different than the fleshy one on the other
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
And so, it's like you've gone through the portal. Welcome to, see you on the other side.
So that's what it says, once you like, during the concert. But I also just put up the open mouth is actually it's called the Metropolis Mouth of Moloch,
Mhm.
okay? And it's multiple different places. So you'll see when we play this that it'll all start connecting. So I'm gonna go ahead and
And
play
I think
this.
it's interesting the shirt that he wore too,
Mhm,
and how they're passing through a doorway
mhm.
on the front of that shirt and changing. I mean, I don't
Yes.
nothing is coincidence. It wasn't coincidental that all of this happened at this,
Yeah. You got regular people, and they walk through a door, a portal, and then it goes into where it looks like they're demons. So, yeah, or they're going into a demonic realm. Yep. All right, I will go ahead and
Let's go! Yeah! 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 Okay. Yeah! Okay. Yeah! 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 The biggest game plan, that was the escape plan. Investigated, that shit was a investigation, but shit just started racing. But yeah, open gates, this shit just operated. Put your motherfucking yeah! 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 Mister, that shit was a yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
yeah.
Yeah.
If that doesn't look like a portal to hell, I don't know what does.
And the lyrics,
Yeah.
hold on, give me a second because I'm looking that up real quick.
I'll play the other one while you're doing that.
Yeah.
Do you see the shadow, guys? And there was multiple videos like that. It wasn't
Mhm.
just this one. So you can say AI, and maybe it is. It could very well be. But people that were there were talking about the like dark energy, and they couldn't breathe. Like the oxygen was taken out of the atmosphere, and that's when the tragedy happened. That's when they weren't able to breathe. People were trampling on each other. He like went into like a trance, and people were screaming for him, screaming for help, and nobody was listening. He kept singing even though all this was happening right in front of him. And I mean, it was literally like he was a zombie. It's
So,
insane.
yeah, and the lyrics, so the song was it's Escape Plan
Mhm.
was the song that he was singing, and it says, "But wait, it opened gates." And then he says, "A film director helter skelter off the seltzer." So Helter Skelter was the movie that was based on the Manson murders, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But wait, it opened gates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point, is that's what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
So again, you have these stages, the music, the frequencies, the portals, the
Mhm.
energy. Like, what are they trying to do? Are they harvesting the energy from the audience for themselves, or for a deity, or for an idol?
Or
You know,
are they purposefully sacrificing?
Mm, right? I think Kylie Jenner was there with her child when this all happened as well. And you can't tell me in any other way that I feel like that whole family is a family of witches. I mean, that's what I think. So,
They are
um,
a coven.
oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, she's sacrificed Kim in weird ways for fame. And, they can't have good relationships. Chloe's first husband, I mean, they've all been cheated on. They've all been like all these
Well,
things.
but have they been cheated on, or have they used the men that they're with for
Mhm.
their purposes, and
Oh,
they've
yeah. And I think it's
wrecked
both.
themselves?
Yeah, I think that's their cost. I think they have a cost of humiliation or
Absolutely.
whatever, for all this money. I mean, every business that they've done is super successful. In the real world, like 75% of businesses fail.
Mhm.
But also they have the money to be able to do these things, to create these businesses. But yeah, it's just
Well, and you look at, like, what price did their mom pay,
oh,
and she was best friends with OJ's wife that was killed.
and then their dad died.
Right. Who
Everybody that was part
was
of the trial,
OJ's
yeah,
wasn't he OJ's
defend it. Yeah, they yeah,
defender?
yeah, one of them. And I believe at least I think probably all of them, and maybe I'm wrong, I think they all ended up dying of either cancer or somehow. Like, it was yeah, it's an interesting stat with whoever, was on that defense team. It yeah, did not have good outcomes for themselves. So,
It's just
it just
interesting, like, Hollywood is just very interesting. It's a whole 'nother deep dive because, I mean, Hollywood, did you know that the magicians' wands were made out of the Hollywood?
does it surprise me. Because I mean, it's magic. It's what they want you to perceive, and it's a way of controlling the masses, or an idea, or and being able to have people in positions that you worship, just like
Right.
having idols.
Well, I don't think it's ironic that it's called American Idol
I
or
mean,
Idol
you'll
Worship.
see, yeah, there's just symbolism and everything, guys. Oh, the one thing we forgot before we wrap this up is I forgot about the Zach Brown.
And the witch that was interviewed about,
Oh, yeah, we can do that real quick. Yeah, about the Travis Scott, we'll do that
yeah,
before. Yeah, because and mind you, she's been
she's
in
an
this world.
yeah, she did Santeria.
Yeah, which is
And
so does Beyonce. So does
right.
Jennifer Lopez. Just keep that in mind. Okay, so here we go.
The enemy is not hiding anymore. The enemy is out there. You see in movies, TVs, music. Recently we saw this concert at Travis Scott.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a huge ritual.
But that
right
ritual,
there.
I mean, the stage looked like something out of Hieronymus Bosch.
That was a portal.
Because it looked like a devil's mouth or
Yep.
something. So that wasn't just a coincidence. Because they tried to poo-poo all the criticism, and they said, no, it was just, provocative imagery.
People like me that we come from that, we knew that was a whole ritual right there. I believe he got the power through Satanism and through this type of things. So for him to go to the next level, you have to do something. You have to do some sort of sacrifice. That was a huge thing right there that he did. The platform was a portal. The sounds that they were playing when that was happening, they are really low sounds that open in the spiritual realm portals of death and portals for these demons to enter. So what was happening there, it was a sacrifice, a human sacrifice.
Because people died at this concert.
Oh,
right?
loads of people.
Yep. Again,
And so some people were
frequency.
saying that that shadow that was above, that was going like from one place to the like over the crowd, was whatever the portal opened,
Mhm.
that came through. I don't know. That's just some people's interpretation.
Well, you know,
I don't know. I don't understand how it all works.
no, no, but it was definitely a planned event. And I agree with her. I do think it was for him to get to the next level. He had to do some, that's the thing. There's always a cost and you have to continue to sacrifice. And
And his concerts are even more popular now than they were before that.
yuck. Okay. Now you have Zach Brown, who a little bit of history on him too. Like he's the country fried chicken, like country slash pop, but like very popular. Like we'll be on the beach and it's like beachy music and it's just like, hey, it's fun. Have a drink in your hand, just relax. And his reputation started getting wild where he was engaged to someone and just like almost publicly humiliated her and canceled their engagement and then immediately was with somebody else and then he just started behaving differently and weird and like lost all this weight and almost became just a different person. And then he had this concert that was in Vegas, if anybody's familiar with the Sphere. So it's like this, it is really cool. It's like a huge sphere. So the inside is all screens, right? And then they have these seats and everything for concerts. Um, like I actually wanted to go to the Eagles because I thought that would be a really cool concert to go to. And it's supposed to be just like this, you're immersed in sound and visuals because it's all screen. Well, I actually had a friend who went to this concert and because I asked her about it and there was images online. I go, are those true? Where they had like this demonic skeleton and all this stuff that came through. And she's like, yeah, it was really, really weird. I was like, did you end up leaving? She's like, yeah, but I didn't at first because what happened was they would have like this weird imagery and then they would play like this normal happy song, and then a couple songs later they would go into this demonic kind of imagery again. And then that's when she was like, we're out of this. Like, I feel uncomfortable. I don't like this. And a lot of people, I think, felt the same way. But I'm about to play a little snippet of what was on the screen that other people have recorded.
This is 2025, and now we have demonic country concerts. A recent Zac Brown band show at the Sphere left many people unsettled, with some saying it felt as if they were being pulled toward the gates of hell. The performance opened with a young boy inside a glowing red door, a symbol often used in film and art to suggest forbidden spiritual realms. As the visuals shifted to dark forests and portals, the red door returned, now engulfed in flames. It resembled the biblical imagery of destruction, not salvation. What followed was a massive skeletal figure surrounded by fire, a twisted kingdom, and a crown that later appeared on the lead singer himself. The final scene displayed what looked like a fallen angel descending, imagery that aligns disturbingly with Isaiah 14:12. How you are fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning. Symbolism matters. Darkness disguised as entertainment isn't new, but Christians are called to test everything, hold fast what is good. 1 Thessalonians 5:21.
And then there's other videos where it shows like this huge skeleton with a crown on it. Why Zach Brown is actually wearing a crown of like gold. It like looks like almost like skeleton kind of
Fingers.
fingers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming up from it while this is all happening. And you see like this hand coming down and almost looks like it touches the crowd. And honestly, I couldn't imagine if there were children there. I mean, which I'm
Well, the
sure
the
there
most
were.
disturbing thing about it for me was
Yeah.
when this whatever it's like you are the one that's coming into this child's room and standing at the foot of the bed, and then this child starts running towards the door, this red door that's on fire. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
"Why are you involving children in this?"
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, it basically shows a child at this door that's burning and it's on fire and has to walk through it. And then when you get in
Like, you
there,
can't
there's
escape.
no. It's basically this, it's almost like this kid is in this trance and or dream like state. And
Nightmare.
yeah, and it's like you open the door and it's like this, it's hell basically. And there's demons, and then you have this huge skeleton that's in chains with a crown on it, and it breaks the chain. It's just, it's very demonic. And people were just like, at first, I think it's kind of crazy how realistic it made it. It felt, it was like 3D. So it felt like, I mean, that's another thing. You're immersed in this. And then it got kind of scary. So I think that's why people left. They were just like, this is not Zach Brown. This is not his deal. Like, he's supposed to be country, pop, like, this is it
Fun.
that's it yeah, yeah. So, again, I think that's something that he had to do, maybe to, get up to the next level or some kind of rituals. Or, they say, again, the eye is the portal, and it showed that the child sitting on his bed, though, and like, zoomed in on his eye.
Yes, and he was going through the portal of the keyhole.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because when you think about altered state of
Mhm.
consciousness,
Mhm.
people and how people do things that they wouldn't necessarily do
Mhm.
if they weren't in this altered state. I
Mhm.
think the whole atmosphere of a concert puts you in a situation where you might accept things that you normally wouldn't, like people who stayed
Yeah.
at the concert.
Yeah.
You may, if you'd walked into it and there wasn't this altered state happening
Mhm.
of this concert and all the excitement that goes around it, you might have gone in and gone, "No."
Well,
But
think about in ancient times. I mean, who knows if that happened too, where they're like all of a sudden it got real dark, and then there were sacrifices, and they're like, what is happening? And then they just stayed. They
yeah.
participated. So yeah, it's it's a
So, I
lot.
mean, yeah, history shows that festivals they're universal,
Mm-hmm.
and because people are created to gather and celebrate and seek meaning together. And that's how God created us. And scripture teaches that humanity was created to worship God alone.
Yeah.
And while cultures express celebrations in many ways, believers are called to worship faithfully, to reject idolatry, to exercise discernment, and to test everything. And most importantly, to glorify God in all that we do. And so, what we ask these questions, right? What captures your heart?
Mm-hmm.
What are the things that are receiving your praise and your worship?
Yeah.
And, has entertainment become our culture's primary form of worship? I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a, important question to ask.
Well, thank God we're seeing people like Forrest Frank,
Yeah.
where he's selling out Madison Square Gardens, and it is worship. It's worship for Jesus, and it is amazing. And he's using imagery. He's using all these things
Well,
that
he's got a
they
cross at the center.
yeah. But it is like the energy and the worship for him, for God, is just, it's unreal. It's unreal. And that's what it should be. So again, there's always a choice, and using your discernment, and there is hope. I mean, just you have that choice.
Mhm.
You always have that choice.
Yeah.
So,
And, kind of like looking back on things that I have participated in, it's like,
mhm.
wow, I never looked at it that way. But now I see
Mhm.
how very clearly that I was swayed by the things I participated in, in
100%.
these concerts and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's opens our eyes in a different way, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's so important for Christians and just people in general, even if you're on the edge or whatever, just use your discernment. You know, if something isn't right or doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. And
Yeah. But also to open your eyes to things that you might be participating in and thinking nothing about. Maybe this will give you a different way to look at it.
and we will put all of the verses in scripture that will help clarify and that way you'll have something the foundation of what
Yeah.
to, how you can use it for discernment and just to know what is good and what is not. So next week, I know that it's holiday, so we're going to take a break for a minute, but
Yeah.
we didn't even touch Burning Man, and
This
that
week.
is another.
But we
So,
did last week. So if you
mhm,
didn't watch last week
mhm,
or listen last week, go back and
yep,
listen to that because we did talk about the Burning Man festival as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
As always, make sure you like and subscribe. Share this with somebody that, if you want to have a conversation, we always want to have conversations about this kind of stuff. So,
yeah. And tell us what you want to hear. Tell us what you
yeah.
want us to talk about next, and we'll do a deep dive in it. So until next time, guys, we'll see you soon. Bye.